So I brought out some duct tape, and if you cut the material right, it almost sticks in there by itself. So I really questioned the use of putting an adhesive in there. So I think I'm just going to use duct tape to hold these pieces in place, and then when all these pieces in place, I'm going to be going around all the edges and sealing all the edges, no doubt with a can of spray foam, which will be a lot of work, and then putting a solid, probably bigger solid sheets over the top of all of this once it's all even. So I think that's going to be the approach for now. All right. You may have to put extra tape on, especially the big sheets, to keep them in place. As well, when you get all these like extra fringes of fiberglass, you might just have to run your knife across there and just try and take some of that off. Also, if you can get somebody to give you a hand, this will go twice as fast if you have somebody cutting the tape and handing it to you and putting it up, as opposed to you cutting it and holding the styrofoam and all that. So if you have that luxury, that'll be to your benefit. And if you don't, pace yourself, be patient, you will get through it. All right, don't have any confidence in that tape holding because of the heat, and definitely when I put the spray foam, I think it's going to be an issue to not have an adhesive in there. So I came up with another possibility. A Tupperware bin cover. Stay with me. Alright, I put that top on a chop saw and made some makeshift plastic straps. And just realized I gotta put them up by hand because somebody's got my drill. Alright, couple short screws. Just use those little pieces of plastic like straps. Possibly temporary, possibly permanent, doesn't really matter. And yeah. Alright, it's the next day, and here's the thing. So back in the day when I used to drive and build vans, I actually did I only did one complete build once, and the rest were things that other people had already done, and I just modified and stuff. So when I did mine, insulation was sort of an afterthought, and I really, and it was a very different world. This would be back around 2000 or so, or before that, late 90s. And I just dreamed it up and built it. And I did put some insulation in. It was white styrofoam, and it did make quite a difference, but I didn't know anything. I was just winging it. And on the roof, I don't know that there was any insulation. I just put up plywood and then heavy carpet. It was all about carpet then. It wasn't big shag carpet, it was low profile commercial carpet. Anyway, my point in all this is I'm kind of winging it again based on the knowledge I have, but sort of cutting corners here on how I should probably be doing this with adhesive, but I didn't know what adhesive to use, and I didn't know what adhesives I had and everything. Anyway, so I went and found Van Life Plus Matt's video on when he did his, and when he was done, he learned that Gorilla Glue was the bomb for making this stuff stick. But like me, he was trying to use spray foam as adhesive, and it was just a time-consuming nightmare. But in the end, when he had to do something, he used some Gorilla Glue, and it worked wonderfully. So I went in the basement, I found a tube of what I think is Gorilla Glue, and I'm gonna give it a shot. Yep, just getting high here in the van on Gorilla Glue fumes. Gotta step out now before I pass out. But yeah, it's working good. It's the clear Gorilla Glue. Alright. It held up pretty good, like I thought it would. except for the odd stick I just didn't have enough contact with. So my plan here is I've got 1 can of quick foam, and so I got to get more. This particular brand is by DAP. We'll see how that works out. Some of the products I've been good with, and some products not so much. But anyway, so I filled in all those spaces, and I'm going to spray a foam around them. And then I have this panel pre-cut to go up in here like that, and I can put a screw or two into the support wood there to keep it in place. And so I want to kind of create, by putting spray foam around all of this, I'm creating both a vapor barrier and a temperature barrier. If it was just a vapor barrier, I'm going to achieve that with the second layer, and it would be less complicated. But I think there's going to be a heat value benefit in closing up all these other gaps. So yeah, so I'm going to take the spray foam can and spray upside down. I don't have hopes for this going smoothly, but I have a trowel, like a drywall trowel, to help me keep it up there temporarily. I may have one of these as well, see if that comes in handy. And then I have tape. I have this sheathing tape that you would normally use on a vapor barrier in a house that I might use for keeping the foam up in the gaps if it wants to fall down to the floor. So that's kind of a basic plan. Let's see how it works out. Alright, I threw a drop cloth down, and I pre-cut a couple pieces of the sheathing tape. Alright, I threw a drop cloth down and pre-cut a couple lengths of the sheathing tape and put that there. Hopefully I can reach it. Another thought I had about this heater and all these lines, and between the fact that there's a gap in the wall that you won't be able to fill with insulation, and it takes up a good chunk of the wall, I'm thinking I might not put these back in, but I want to keep the heater. So what I may do is just cut these lines up a few inches, and in the wall above this unit, just have them sticking out, and eventually put like a grill in there, maybe fasten them somehow, but just have all 3 of those ports blowing heat straight into the cabin area from back here. And so that's my thought, rather than have this bunch of hoses distribution system, because insulating around them is going to be a pain, because they have to be attached to the wall, and then you're just going to be real complicated. So I'm thinking that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to cut those lines a couple inches up. I'll cut them with more than I think I'll need, and then be able to cut them back later, but never cut them too short, because then you're like, oh, didn't leave enough. Same in electrical, always have too much, so that you can move an outlet or whatever. Just my opinion. Okay, so we're going to try and do some foaming. Alright, things are going not too bad. The stuff sticks up there reasonably well, and it's this big second plate that I got on there. It just hold it in place with a tripod, but I'll stick probably a screw or 2 in there. Now I'm going to cut one for the other side, and that big plate and the one I'm going to put in there, that's kind of the final amount of space I'm going to take up. So in some places it's going to be like R10, some places it's going to be like R5 because the support wood is there, and then there's just one layer of R5 below it. But that's my decision for now. Alright, I only had one can of this kicking around, and this was really horrible. There was something wrong with the dispensing rate, so it took forever. But this can sat downstairs for a while, and I think I got it at a discount store. And so anyway, the foam does its job. Just this dispensed really messily and leaked, and way too slow, and la la la. Anyway, that's all I've got to work with tonight, so I'll do a little cleanup and have to get more supplies hopefully tomorrow. Alright, my brain just popped at a hyperfocus on the ceiling, which is what I really want to get done, and it said, hey, no, you're not quitting yet. You can cut these hoses. You've got 2-inch styrofoam. You can be putting that on the wall. You get at it, boy. Boy. Alright, I just went and bought a whole bunch of styrofoam at Home Depot. I think 8 sheets of 1-inch and 7 sheets of 2-inch, and these sheets are only 2 feet wide. And that, after tax, Canadian, is $568. Yeehaw! And I also stopped at a discount store that I often go to called Silver Sands. And got 6 cans, the last 6 cans of their off-brand spray foam. So a 454 gram can at Home Depot is $13.50 or something. These are the 300 ml cans, which I'm fine with, because you tend to be able to do smaller jobs. Because once you start one of these cans, you got to keep going with it, or it's no good. So $8.50 plus tax. So hopefully saved a few bucks there. Now I gotta unload this stuff. Alright, this is the back piece of plywood that went on. Like, the ceiling was basically made up of that 4x8 sheet, and then this was at the very end in the very back. So I just have to get all this material off, and I'm pulling all the staples out, and then I'll run a sander over it, and then I have one piece of foam to put up, and then I can actually put this back piece in, and then continue on. Yeah, I'm not going to sugarcoat it for you. This is an absolute nightmare. Absolute nightmare. Finding the right length of screws to go through the material and then lodge into the support beams without going through the roof, it's just a friggin' nightmare. It's just a nightmare. Through and through. And this stuff expands way more than the other stuff, so it's just dripping everywhere. It's a nightmare. It's just a nightmare. And I'm sick, I'm sweating to death, and now I'm getting cold. But somehow the temperature dropped to the point where I can see my breath. It's just cold, wet, sick, garbage. What a stupid night. You can only do that overhead filming stuff for so long till your brain goes numb and you run out of foam. So I got to work on the original panel, get all the material off. I want to completely seal it inside and out with paint, and so I got to clean up all the staples, and it's going to be a lot of fun. A really a lot of fun. Alright, got all the material off there and all the crumbling, broken backing material. I'm going to take a sander to all these spots that were getting a little bit moldy, and then I'm going to go to the basement and look at all the off tints that I have. My thought is to go with just a sort of a bluish white, and you'll see the overall scheme, I guess, later, or my thoughts on it. And yeah, see if I can mix up some discarded mist tints and come up with a color just to seal this up, both sides, inside and out.
Are you beaten, broken, destroyed, got nothing left? You've given up and you feel like checking out? Don't. Start thinking outside the cage.
So tell me, how do you feel? Have you been handed more than you can deal? Better hit the open road or blaze across the sky if you